welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie, and this is the Dilemmas of a Book Nerd tag or discussion, something like that. Yeah, chatty video for you guys today. As I said, this is a chatty video for you. Once again, I'm liking these chatty videos. I like them even more when you guys comment down below and get into the conversation with me. So that's always good. Make sure that if you want to do this tag, you check out all the information in the description box, because the creator from Lindsay's Little Library, I think she did a really good job at these questions, and they're very interesting. I really think they're cool. I would also like to see my friend Bree institute this over on her blog, because she no longer has a booktube channel. But if she would, give me these answers, it would be great. But I'm going to give you guys some answers because as a book nerd, I'm claiming it. I'm a book nerd. We have dilemmas, and these are definitely some dilemmas that I have as well. So let's just get into them. Dilemma number 1 is book storage. How do you store and organize your books? So I don't actually read the books back there. For the most part, I come and visit them. They are signed books. I have been going to book signings for almost 4 years now, and I just think it's cool to have the physical book of a book that I read and loved, and from an author that I love and admire and fangirl over all the time and stuff like that. So I like to have a little piece of them in my heart, in my space with me at all times. So, that's how I store them. There is no rhyme or reason to it. I probably need to break down and do something about that soon, because I've done a couple of bookshelf scavenger hunts or challenges and things like that, and I cannot get under 10 minutes because I have no clue where my books are. So I might need to, organize that a little better. Book dilemma number 2. How do you track what you have read and what books I own? So I have looked into some of the online sort of tracking apps or whatever, so that I can start scanning the books back there just to see what I do have, what I don't have, and things like that. And then otherwise I use Goodreads. Goodreads is my go-to. I am on Goodreads all day long, on my phone, on my computer at work, on my home computer. I always have it up. I am constantly, entering information in there. If I have an update for a book, that's where I go. I track it through there. I also have a digital spreadsheet that I use for my monthly tallies, because Goodreads doesn't necessarily always break everything down the way that I like it in the monthly stats and things like that I give you guys. So I had to branch out just a little bit to give all of that information. But for the most part, all 6,000 of my books are connected through Goodreads, because Amazon and Goodreads are partners or whatever, and I can connect in that way. So yeah, and that's pretty much where I get all my books from as well, besides the ones that I get as ARCs, and then I go in and still Goodreads. And if you want to follow me on Goodreads or check out my profile, it's down in the description box as well, so you can go check me out and track with me or see what I'm reading, what my thoughts are. Dilemma number 3 is borrow. Do I lend my books out? Nope. Sure don't. Like I said, they are signed to me, and I don't give, nope. I do have some books that I am more than happy to borrow out, because they're duplicates or they're just generally signed. But if they're signed personally to me, I'm not, no, not gonna lend it out. Sorry. No, man. I like my books in pristine, look. So yeah, that ain't happening. Dilemma number 4 for buying. Where do I acquire my books or buy my books? So I am a huge Amazon person. I buy all of my books from Amazon, or I buy them from the author themselves during signings. That's pretty much the only two places that I go. Every once in a while, I will order something from Barnes & Nobles, maybe, or BAM, Books A Million, for you guys that didn't know that. We may go in there, but for the most part, I don't use those outlets at all. I tried Book Outlet once, and I just was like, I mean, and I read on my Kindle, so pretty much everything goes through Amazon. So yeah. Dilemma number 5, comments. How do you respond to the "how do you read so much" comment, or similar comments like that? So I just did a video that you guys should have seen on Tuesday, which I'll link up there as well, of how I read, and not really how I read, but my preferred reading format. So that can give you some idea of how I read. But I read constantly. I have a full-time job, but I have a family. I have a son that is very active. He has swim practice like 5 days a week. And then the weekends that we have meets on Saturdays and Sundays. So then we'll end up being at swimming for like 6 days, with like 1 day break. But while he is at practice, we're not allowed on the pool deck, so I can get some reading done that way. When I wake up in the morning, I actually have my alarm set for about 30 to 45 minutes before it's actually time for me to roll out of bed, that I pick up either a Kindle, or I pop in my earbuds. Mostly it's Kindle when I wake up in the morning. And I use my Kindle to fall asleep to, because it's amazing. And Kindle saves where you are. I don't have to worry about bookmarks or anything like that. And so yeah, so I carve out time then. And then when I'm in the bathroom, I have a Kindle with me. When I am driving to work, I am listening to an audiobook, because it's about, depending on traffic, it can be anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes of a commute each way to and from work, and that's a good time to get some books in. And I have a job where I very rarely have to actually communicate with other people outside of email, like have actual conversations with people or have to be on the phone or anything like that. So while I'm at work and I'm typing on my computer, I can pop in my earbuds and I can listen to an entire book in 1 day. 1 work hour or 1 work day, I can listen to a book. So that is how I consume all the books. Dilemma number 6. Next book. How do I pick my next read? That gets a little bit tricky. I am very much a mood reader, and because I have gained some popularity here on my channel, I do have a pretty rigorous ARC schedule, in which I keep that schedule on my phone, and that sort of determines what I'm going to read next. However, if I am a little ahead, or I have a couple days where, that I don't need to necessarily jump on that book like right away, I don't need something due like right away, then I will sort of just pick, just at random. If I'm looking for something short, if I'm like 6 hours, at work, I get to work and I'm like, okay, I want to like zone out and just concentrate on my work, I'm going to pick a like short book, an audiobook or something like that, and just listen to that. Something that has been on my favorites list, which are massive. My to be read lists are humongous, and I'll just like scroll through. Or it depends on if I am participating in a readathon or something like that. I will take the time and sort of try and stick to that readathon like TBR sometimes. But then, if I get into a possible slump or start to feel like I'm getting slumpy, I will definitely grab something that I know will not get me into a slump, that's very sort of formulaic and light, sexy, something like that. So yeah, that's how I pick my next read. Dilemma number 7, travel. How do I pick which books or book that I take on vacation with me? So, being that I have Kindles, yes, 2 Kindle Paperwhites and a Kindle Fire I can take all the books with me. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I'm good to go. I mean, like, seriously. And I'm not a plane person. I don't take plane trips. I am not about sitting on each other's laps while I'm trying to travel for 8 hours or anything like that. So having no electronics is not really my problem. Not a problem for me. If I get a little, motion sickness by reading a Kindle, I can always pop in my earbuds and listen to an audiobook. How do I determine what is downloaded on those devices? Well, my Kindle has like 300 to 400 books on it already at any given moment. I download whatever new releases or new buys or anything like that that I have purchased before I go on travel to make sure that I have the newest stuff. And then my phone also has the Kindle app as well. So if I'm out and about and come to find out I get an arc that I have been waiting for, it comes in on my phone. So that really just helps out. Dilemma number 8. Annotate. Do I write or highlight or mark up my books in any ways? Once again, coming back to my favorite format, I have a Kindle, so all I have to do is press on the screen and highlight what I want. I can add notes. If I want to connect to the Wi-Fi, I can share it with you guys. Something that I thought was, prevalent or wanted to, a crazy, amazing line or something like that was just like, boom, yes, here it is. Here's a story. This is, yeah, I can share that if I want to connect to Wi-Fi. So that is the greatest thing about having a Kindle, is that you can just highlight and I don't have to worry about damaging those books back there. Bam. Dilemma number 9, new or backlist. Which do I prefer, new releases or my backlist books? It's a little bit of both. Like I said, it depends on what my mood is. Sometimes I do jump back into those older books that have been released, a while ago. I have come to terms with not having all of the series books released to start a series. So that in that way I'm fine with the whole new books situation. But I like a good mix of both, because I am on quite a few art teams, so I get new books. I deal with NetGalley, so I get arcs as well. And then I also like to revisit some of my authors that I have found that I've liked their books, but they have a big backlist. Sometimes I'll just go and grab one of those that has been out for a while and, make sure that I'm still loving their work. Even though it's like those first books that authors put out may not be the best, but it's always fun to see where they've come from and if they've grown in their works and stuff like that, which I just love. I love finding an author, going back into something like one of their first books, and then comparing that first book to where they are now, and it's like, wow, they really learned. Unlike there's a couple authors that haven't learned, but different video. Question number 10, and the final question, is sequels. Do you read as they are released or wait for an entire series to be published before reading book number 1? I sort of answered that question before, or that dilemma before. When I first started reading back in 2012, I was like, if I find out that it's a series, I am not picking up this first book. And it would drive me crazy. I mean, it really annoyed me when a book had a cliffhanger and then come to find out it's supposed to be like a 5-book series or whatever. Now, I have gotten much better about that. I will start a series of books from an author, but it depends on the author. So if it is a new to me author that I have never read, that I haven't experienced at all, things like that, I am very hesitant to start a book 1 if I find out that it's a sequel and things like that. Now, if it's an author that I know, that I have dealt with either on their art team or I have read their books before, and I know that they have a set schedule where they're like, hey, my book 1 is coming out on such and such date, you know, or hey, book 1 came out this date, but by the way, I've already completed the first draft of book 2, and or book 2 is, you know, at the publisher or at my editors for second look, and I'm working on book 3, then I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can do that. But if it's, like I said, if it's an author that I know doesn't work like that, I'm very hesitant to start a series without knowing a semi-time frame. There are some authors that are like, okay, I know that their method is to listen to the characters, and sometimes characters just stop talking to you. I get that too. Like, there is a series that I absolutely love that, actually there's 2 series as a matter of fact, that I have started, and I'm waiting for those second and third books to be released. But I know the authors, and the authors are like, the characters aren't talking to me. I can't write the book if the characters aren't talking to me. So it's like, okay, I get it, not a problem. Sometimes, and these characters that I'm talking about are dark and they're twisted, and they got minds of their own, so I can completely understand it. I get it. I got you. I'm still here for it. Still here for it. They're still like go-to authors, so that's all that's going to be said about that one. Well, that is the dilemmas of a book nerd tag. Like I said, if you want to do it, all the questions or all the dilemmas are down in the description box, so you guys can join in. Let me know if you do end up doing this tag either as a blog entry or as a video, because I'd love to see what some of your answers to these dilemmas are. I'm not going to tag anybody, but please feel free to do this. Make sure you shout out Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library, because these questions were phenomenal. I did enjoy answering them, and maybe that's a little bit of a look into my reading style and things like that, so you guys can get to know me as well. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box, so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.